When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. You're ready to move your business forward, but first, you need to find the right team. Start your search with Indeed-sponsored jobs. It can help you reach qualified candidates fast, ensuring your listing is the first one they see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. See the results for yourself. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, it's Dave here. This is my wife, Kathy.
Hello.
This is the Cinemile, the podcast where we walk home from the movies. But today we are not walking to and from the movies because the movie we want to watch is on Netflix at home. And we couldn't find Wake Up Dead Men, A Knives Out Mystery in any cinema nearby.
I think it might have been somewhere for like a day, which is not a proper cinematic release. We couldn't go. We wish we were going. This is one of my favourite movie franchises. We absolutely love murder mysteries. And we saw the first one of these in the cinema and had such a fun time in the screening.
That was before Netflix signed a deal with Rian Johnson for all the future films.
Yeah, and
for
it's funny. It's a funny series, you know, and humorous movies are best watched at a crowd, I think, anyway.
I agree. And for anyone who isn't aware, Netflix will often give small theatrical runs to the movies it produces in order to meet
Qualify
the
for
minimum criteria to qualify for awards. So to be eligible for a lot of the big movie awards, your movie needs to have been at cinemas, which thank God for that.
Thank God, yeah.
And also I'd say they're somewhat doing it to appease the big filmmakers they're working with. But so that's what makes it makes it hard to find these great films such as this series in cinemas. Mm-hmm. And moving on maybe nicely to a big bit of news that happened this week that affected the entertainment industry and will likely affect cinemas and our podcast in the future if it were to go ahead. Netflix agreed a deal to purchase Warner Brothers Studios and all its streaming subsidiaries and many other companies that come with that for $79 billion. Now this deal has been agreed between Netflix and Warner Brothers, but it faces a lot of hurdles to go ahead. Mm-hmm. It needs to pass regulatory approval both in the US and the EU. It needs shareholder approval. And also there is a hostile competitive bid by one of the other bidders, Paramount, who have come out strong and have usurped the share price that Netflix agreed to pay Warner Brothers. So anything could happen, but we thought we might, before we speak about Wake Up Dead Man, we thought we might just spend a couple of minutes just addressing kind of the headlines of this and the potential impact of it for our beloved cinemas.
I know, like there's a ton of things that are going to be impacted here, right, Dave? So obviously for us, what we're kind of focused on is the cinema. But there's a lot that would be in this deal, right, in terms of like physical media.
Yeah, so not to get into all the details because, you know, we're not an industry analysis podcast and you can get all of this. I mean, it's been widely publicized. But to break it down, Warner Brothers Discovery merged a few years ago. They've now, as part of this deal, they've agreed to separate into two different entities. And
so the whole thing was a massive flop is what we're saying. Waste of everyone's time.
Warner Brothers have been basically, and the CEO David Zaslav was brought in to gut this company and put it up for sale for the past few years. That's likely what has happened. So Netflix, as part of this deal, would not buy the Discovery Global arm, including CNN and all the free-to-air channels in Europe. So they're not interested in legacy television distribution models, unsurprisingly, but they will, if this deal goes ahead. It includes all of Warner Brothers Film Studios, its entire back catalogue and all of its streaming services, which includes HBO Max, all that stuff. So you're talking enormous intellectual property here, such as Harry Potter, Game of Thrones,
Sex and the City,
all of these things, DC Comics, DC in its entirety. And this is where the deal gets interesting, because it's not just cinema that gets affected here. Suddenly you've got a streaming tech company who would own a comic publishing house, one of the biggest ones, DC Comics. They'd own all that. What did they do with that? Who knows? They own
nothing good, I would say.
They would own a load of video game companies, WB Games, some of the biggest video game publishers. I know a lot of our audience are gamers. You're talking Rocksteady, TT, who made the Batman Arkham series, TT Games, NetherRealms. They own Mortal Kombat. What happens to Mortal Kombat?
Like, if this deal happens, it's the most uncompetitive,
yes,
monopolistic, terrible for creatives across every part of the industry deal.
Terrible for consumers.
Terrible for consumers.
We will end up paying more.
Yeah, we'll end up paying more. And then I guess kind of from our perspective, as to people who would love to be going to watch a Knives Out mystery in the cinema right now, we are like, if we want to watch these films, like forced to watch it at home, that's like money not spent at our local cinema, not going into our local economy. And like the implications of it are pretty dire for cinema. And then hilariously, the counter bidder, well, not hilariously at all, Paramount, sure, if they get Warner Brothers, that's better for cinema. So on that level, we're happier.
You'd think so.
But then there's a rake of elements that we're not going to get into here, and they're like US political elements that mean actually it's really bad if they get into it as well.
In a nutshell, if you don't know, they're the head of Paramount, and Paramount recently also merged with Skydance, so more consolidation across the board in the entertainment industry, which is bad. Run by David Ellison, the son of Larry Ellison, who owns Oracle, one of the world's richest men, and the two of them are absolutely in bed with Trump and his fascistic White House regime. So what the likely implications of them getting Warner Brothers and owning CNN
really bad stuff
implies that they become the mouthpiece and toe the line for a government that is increasingly clamping down on free speech.
So yeah, basically the answer is it's all bad. We hope none of it goes ahead.
Yeah, it's the lesser of two evils. Which one?
We hope it all gets blocked. But in the meantime, I guess, from our perspective, a cinema perspective, and our listeners who are all cinema lovers, as well as lovers of TV and games and kind of other forms of culture, all we can do is try and spend money in our local cinema, support our local cinema economy. So like, we're not going to the cinema today, sadly, but what we are going to do instead is when we're buying vouchers for Christmas gifts, like for teachers and things like that, this year we're going to buy cinema vouchers.
I love this idea.
Anyone we're giving a voucher to this year, it will be a cinema voucher. For example, when we're doing things like kids' birthday parties, we're going to try and think about doing it in the cinema. There's ways to try and like foster cinema in your local community, and
in the next generation with our kids.
In the next generation, we make it such a special thing when we go to the cinema with our kids, and it's expensive, by the way. It's not cheap to go to the cinema with your kids, but fostering that love of cinema with them, and with everything, we can impact our local community and our family, even if we can't impact outside of that. So yeah, all right, Netflix, we'll watch it tonight. Rian Johnson and all the other filmmakers who sell their, the big filmmakers that sell their rights and make films for the streamers, they annoy me. Like, as much as I love Rian Johnson as a filmmaker, it infuriates me that he made this Netflix deal. There was no need for it. These would have had huge cinematic releases. And Christopher Nolan, I'm a fan of some of his movies more than others, but I really admire his stance on not selling to streamers. And that's why he actually stopped working with Warners over the last couple of years, because of their behaviour and how they were treating filmmakers.
Well, also because it was during the pandemic, Warner's, you might remember, agreed to do day-and-date releases for all of their movies in 2021 on HBO Max, which that's why he walked.
Christopher Nolan brought us back to cinema after the pandemic.
Tenet.
And if he hadn't done it, we'd have all been sitting around waiting a long time for a blockbuster, and he had the power and used it to force, in a safe way. I remember we were masked and socially distanced and stuff, but we went to it. And say what you want about Tom Cruise, but he's getting butts into cinemas with Mission Impossible, and people like that can use their power for good, and it wrecks my head that someone like Rian Johnson has made this Netflix deal.
I by the way, I'm on the same page as you, and I am very grateful for huge role models like Christopher Nolan and Tom Cruise, who are out there publicly promoting cinemas and the love of cinemas. However, I will provide a slight counter argument that it is an easier position for those two men and people like them
huge,
who could go anywhere and get anything made anywhere. So,
but Ryan Johnson could have gone anywhere, and
perhaps Ryan Johnson's on the fence. But we must acknowledge that there are creatives out there who are trying to get work made, and Netflix are one of those people they go to get things off the ground, and they have a lot of money and are spending money and giving creatives a lot of freedom.
Well, they'd be spending a hell of a lot less money, David. This merger goes ahead and they're cutting budgets left, right and centre.
I agree.
And ultimately there's a lot of big actors who make films on Netflix that don't need to be either. So, you know, it's like people act powerless to all these tech idiots going around spending all their money. We all have power and we all have influence, and unfortunately a lot of people aren't using it. Right, we will get off our soapbox. We are actually
and we're going to sit on our soap couch and watch a Netflix movie.
All that being said, I can't wait to watch this film. Absolutely,
me too.
Cracking franchise. Love murder mysteries. I think it's my favourite genre. Very rarely in cinema. Murder mysteries always more been a TV genre. Ironically, so we are watching it on TV now. It's generally the genre that lives in books and TV, so to see a movie that's a murder mystery is so fun.
I'm really excited about this. Love Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc. The second one wasn't, we did review it, so we reviewed both of these. If you scroll back, you'll find Knives Out and Glass Onion episodes. I think we were a little cooler on the second one. I thought it was a little baggy and messy. Certainly the first one was super tight. So.
But also we weren't watching it in the cinema, so we didn't have that brilliant experience.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, which does affect, I think, how you kind of remember films and enjoy them. But Daniel Craig came into his own here. Like, we both always felt like he's kind of a pretty dull Bond. So
and he looked like he didn't want to be there.
He always looked like he was somehow forced to play Bond.
Exactly, it felt like he was being held at gunpoint.
And then at one point he did say, well, they offered me loads of money, so I had to take it. Well, actually, Daniel, you didn't.
Whereas I don't think I've seen Daniel Craig as happy as when he's Benoit Blanc.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like this is such a great fit for him as an actor. He's a wonderful performer in it, and I love that it's an anthology series with new stories and just this huge array of great talented actors rolling up to play. So
it's a bit like The White Lotus in the sense that I think actors are dying to be in this franchise.
Yes,
you know?
You're right. Yeah. So that's about it. I think we're going to sit down and watch this tonight, and then you'll hear from us on the sofa immediately after we've finished.
Yeah.
See you then.
Bye.
You're the only one on stage with the Monsignor at the time of his killing. You're the only one at that church who hated his guts.
The spirit really moved him today, huh?
So tell me, what the hell happened?
Everyone thinks I did it. I didn't do it.
This goes way beyond normal police work. This is something you and I have not experienced. A perfectly impossible crime.
This case is solvable, right?
I'm incapable of not solving a crime. Oh, you'll see. It's fun.
Wicks had a vast family fortune.
If made public, can ruin people.
God forbid.
Hi, we're back. We have just finished Wake Up, Dead Man, A Knives Out mystery. And if it's your first time here at the cinema, we won't spoil it until, of course, we go to spoiler section of the sofa. Kathy, what did you think of that film?
So I had a really good time. I love Josh O'Connor. So I hadn't, because I've not seen a trailer for this, I've not seen a poster for this, I didn't know who was in it. I was thrilled to see him in it as like essentially the lead, to be honest. And he's brilliant. I loved the setting of a church, like most of the films kind of set in or around a church, which I think is brilliant for a murder mystery. And I would say I loved the first half of this film. It lost me a little bit by the end. Like, it felt very baggy, and I have to confess that we watched it over 2 nights. I have to confess we watched it over 2 nights because I actually fell asleep before it ended last night and we had to pick it up again. It goes on way too long at the end from my perspective. I think out of all the Knives Out, probably, I don't know, like, I don't feel like they use the ensemble cast like they've used the ensemble before. So while we had some brilliant people here like Andrew Scott, Kerry Washington, Glenn Close, a lot of it, I don't know, didn't really work for me. Whereas if you'd asked me after I just watched the first hour of this, I would have been like, it's one of my favourite films of the year. And now after finishing it, I'm a little bit lukewarm on it. I don't think the mystery was actually great. I think Jeff Bridges is amazing.
Do you mean Josh Brolin?
I mean Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin steals the film. He's unreal. He's so fun. Benoit Blanc, I love to see back again. But I felt like he was a little bit toned down compared to his other performances. So it's not quite the Benoit Blanc that I know and love. So yeah, I'm a little lukewarm on it. Dave, what about you?
Josh Brolin's had quite a year, hasn't he?
He really has. And why did I think he was Jeff Bridges?
I don't know. Why did you think that?
Just for that moment.
I think
He's had a year.
Jeff Bridges would have been an interesting choice for that role as well.
Yeah, it's because he's got the longer hair now. He looks like him. I think that's what's confused me.
I loved this movie. I think I liked it a lot more than you did. I was it had me wrapped around its finger from beginning to end. When you said we had to turn it off with 25 minutes to go in the minute of Benoit Blanc laying out the mystery,
the minute of him, or do you mean the 20 minutes of him?
It did go on a bit. The checkmate moment went on a bit at the end. I'll give you that. But Kathy, when Kathy said, I was like, I could not believe it. How would you not notice that I had just fallen asleep? It's been an agonizing 24 hours waiting to finish this movie. Because
I'll say anyone who's going to start watching it, start watching it as early in the evening as you can get to it.
Yeah, I'll admit it is. What are we looking at here?
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
It's 2 hours and 20
like, that's long,
minutes before credits. It is long. I think I agree with your criticisms. It is baggy. There are, however, to your point about all of the side characters, all of the suspects, and there's a whole group of people in this, like as always, played by incredibly famous people and great actors, getting short shrift, to your point, and being somewhat undercooked and underdeveloped. I think you might be misremembering or forgetting that this is a common practice in Knives Out and Glass Onion. That's like, you have, these movies are overstuffed with characters who have little to do, have one note of a personality, are largely drawn for comedic sketch, I find, and we'll talk about them all in spoilers, but they're either not interesting or just comedic one-note characters for the most part, with the exception, I think, of Josh O'Connor, who, as you say, is the lead, and I think he is the emotional heart of this film. And the movie surprised me by, I thought, being quite moving in a few places, and I thought has a surprisingly positive spiritual message, and probably paints the Catholic Church in quite a I think quite a balanced light. You see the positives and you see the negatives. And of course, we'll talk about that in spoilers.
Like, a church is such an exquisite setting.
Oh yeah,
yeah. All the pomp and ceremony and visuals of a church.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful to look at.
It's a great setting. Josh Brolin is just a great sort of big noisy antagonist. There's there's just a lot to like in it. I acknowledge its problems. I acknowledge why you or other people might have sort of fall asleep at the second half. But
in the film's defense, the fire was lit and I had just drunk whiskey, so I wasn't exactly in my most energetic state.
That's fair. But I don't know. I just love spending time with Benoit Blanc, who is a delight. Again, everything we said.
Love the longer hair.
Half. Yeah, Daniel Craig looks great.
Do you feel
He's having
he's
a ball.
a bit muted here compared to the other films?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
I don't think so. I don't know what you're.
I think he's more like camp and theatrical in the other films.
Maybe.
It's all a bit toned down.
I thought this just felt very consistent with the other two, warts and all.
Yeah.
But I love these films, and they're just a blast.
Yeah.
And I was thoroughly entertained.
I'd watch one every Christmas. I do think this is a Netflix problem though, right? We're currently recapping every episode of Stranger Things over on Patreon if you want to listen. We talk about this Netflix problem with Stranger Things. We've talked about it with shows like Arrested Development that move from one network over to Netflix, and I think it can apply to Netflix movies as well. Like, there's just no one saying
no.
There's there are whole scenes in this film that you could be like, you could chop them in half and they'd have been better for it. And like there's a thing with cinema where like studios will be fairly tight with runtime. Like a film would really need to justify being 2 hours and 20 minutes because movie theaters like films to be on the shorter end so that they can schedule them more over the day, right, and sell more tickets. Like it's not valuable to a cinema to have a movie that's 20 minutes longer if it doesn't need to be 20 minutes longer. And they're not at the beginning, just towards the end, and like the big kind of gotcha moments and the reveals and all that. Like it just kind of went on and on and on and on, and to the point where it was like not fun. Whereas usually the gotcha moments of a murder mystery are like the most fun bits.
Yeah, it's baggy.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, there's some fat you could cut.
But I think Rian Johnson's such a good writer though, and I think he's such a good director, and I love his vision. I just think I think no matter what you're doing in life, to be honest, and I include this podcast in this, you can always chop something out of it.
I literally wrote down some of my favorite lines from this as I was writing notes. Something we can do at home, but we can't do in cinemas. I enjoy that.
We lose the run of ourselves.
I'm not going to spoil any. So there's so many. He's got such a lovely way with dialogue, but what I love about him is that the characters can be one note, but they all sound like different people. Whereas I find often with writers, who do great snappy dialogue, I feel like every character can sound like the same, and they sound the same. I think he's got a great way of like making everyone feel like different people, but still able to deliver incredible like one-liners and like. But anyway, I think this sums it up perfectly, and then we'll go to spoiler street. At one point, Josh O'Connor, who's our kind of protagonist, describes himself as young, dumb, and full of Christ.
I really enjoy that.
Which is so good.
I've just come off watching Josh O'Connor in The History of Sound at Cork International Film Festival, which is an exquisite film, and we haven't put out a review for it because it's not out yet. And he is phenomenal in it. So I couldn't have come into this film warmer on him, and I love him even more after this film.
Yeah.
He's so talented. He's
I think
so
this
sweet.
film doesn't work without him.
He's so endearing. But ironically, he could have worked with Paul Mescal in the role.
Was he due to play that role?
No, but they're together, wonderful together in The History of Sound.
Right, okay.
Like you need someone like that, really sensitive and soulful.
Yeah.
And he's perfect. I absolutely love him in this film. The scenes with him and Josh Brolin and Glenn Close and Benoit Blanc, like I love all those scenes. Yeah. Anyway, we are going to spoilers now because this is a movie, you really wouldn't want to spoil it for anyone because of course trying to figure out the mystery is half the fun. So we will take a quick break and we'll be back with spoilers.
Okay, so you have been warned. We are going to spoil this movie.
And watch it. Don't listen to us if you haven't watched it.
It's great.
Yeah, it's really
great.
good.
You watch it over 2 nights if you have to.
Why is it called Wake Up Dead Man? Now that I've seen it, I think it's a terrible title for it.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't. Now, it tipped its hat to me that the guy was going to come back from the dead.
I mean, he also died on Good Friday.
And they had Good Friday lined up, and then Glenn Close, as soon as Glenn Close started saying he will rise again, and they had this very obvious early exposition with Thomas Hayden Church telling us how the tomb works, and it has to be pushed from the inside. I was like, and then I said to you, well, he's coming back on Easter Sunday, obviously, but he's obviously that's not going to happen. So who is it?
Yeah.
And then I'm delighted because obviously we're all playing along at home, and half the game is and Rian Johnson is good at. I feel like
this was the weakest mystery, though. We guessed the whole thing.
We didn't guess the whole thing. We guessed a lot of it.
We knew it was Glenn Close and Thomas Hayden Church. The only surprise was the Jeremy Renner bit.
Yes, we called very early that Glenn Close has orchestrated the resurrection. That Thomas Hayden Church is buried in there. Now we thought he was buried in there with the body in the other tomb because we forgot about the whatever. But we were close. Like we knew he was in there.
Yeah.
Because you notice we at this point had pegged at the funeral that he's gonna resurrect, so someone has to be in there to push out the thing. And we looked for who wasn't there, and he was the only one.
It was just like all the mystery stuff. I think wasn't as good. What was so good about this film is just the texture of the world we were in. Like the granddad, the mother, the harlot, the whore, the church setting, how crazy Josh Brolin was when Josh O'Connor started. and he's like doing his mad confessions that we won't get into because they're like quite dirty, but like the mad confessions he was doing as like to kind of fuck with him, all that stuff around Josh O'Connor's past and how he'd been a boxer. And then all the peripheral characters, when we first meet them, their backstories were so interesting in his exposition dump about them.
But they never progress beyond their backstories. Like besides Josh O'Connor, Josh Brolin, Glenn Close, it's really just those three. Everyone else is largely just completely extraneous.
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
they get nothing. We get one kind of thing with each of them. And the most in particular underwritten are poor old Kaylee Spaney.
Oh my god, she was like,
who is the most dull character.
She may as well have not, like, I don't
She's
remember.
A great actress.
Like, I don't remember a character that wasted and uninteresting in the other two movies.
Totally wasted. I would say next wasted probably Kerry Washington, although she does get a few good scenes.
I'm sorry, you've got Olivia Pope in this film, and she was given nothing to do. I think Andrew Scott was completely wasted.
Andrew Scott was wasted, although he did have some funny stuff,
but
like the fact that he built a moat. A literal moat around his house.
But that wasn't. But like that was just a funny moment where Josh O'Connor said it.
That's
like Andrew Scott, I love him.
He did nothing.
And he was given nothing.
Yeah.
The Irish guy whose name escapes me, who played the adopted son of Kerry Washington, brilliant.
He got a lot to do.
He got loads to do, and his character was so funny when he was like, "I just want to be authentic, you know. First, I came for the gays, then I came for." He basically named off every minority group that he could have come for as part of his political career. He was like, I tried the Israel thing.
He tried
the trans thing. I tried the gun thing. I tried the black thing. I tried the religion thing.
Doesn't stand for
anything.
And
he's like, everyone's so fucking stupid these days. And he's YouTubing everything. So he was a delight. So it was really fun to have two actors in it, and that 2.5, because Josh O'Connor, I believe one of his parents is Irish, even though he grew up in England, because Josh O'Connor, we watched in an Irish film a few years ago called Aisha.
He does a great at Dublin accent.
Oh my god, the year Aisha came out, by the way, it was my number one film of the year, and I left that film convinced he was Irish. His accent was that good. So 2.5 Irish people, which I'd love to see. But yeah, like the celloist, I mean, she may as well have not been in the film. She was I never thought she was a suspect. No. She had nothing to do. Like the most fun. Like
but there are characters like that in the previous two films as well. There is, and because these films are so high profile, they're all you get throwaway secondary characters who are played by incredibly famous people. So you expect more from them.
Yeah, but she's not. I mean, I didn't remember her. I know I've seen her in a movie, but she's not famous.
Oh no, she's on the way up.
Yeah, but
Spaney is.
But she's not like.
She was in Civil War and Alien Romulus last year. She's huge.
No, but. Dave, sorry, that's not like an Andrew Scott or a Kerry Washington, like, do you know what I mean?
No, surely they're on the ladder higher up than her.
Like, I think
this is a very talented young actress.
I'm not saying she's not talented. I'm just saying she's not famous and her character had nothing. So therefore, how would you ever remember her in this film?
Okay, I'm just saying she is famous. There's a sliding scale of fame.
But I've seen Civil War and I didn't remember that she was in it. Like, do you know what I mean?
It's because you don't have your finger on the pulse like I do, right? I'm out there talking to the kids. I know what 6-7 means.
You do, yeah. I think the first hour and a half of this film, though, is truly exquisite. When it got to the reveal, once we found Jeremy Renner in the basement, which was all quite fun, the rest of the film, like, I did not need Benoit Blanc in the church forcing a confession. Sorry, Mila Kunis being in here just completely threw me. I don't know why she's in this film. And then all the stuff of the Glenn Close confession, like, dear God.
It did go on a bit.
And all the bit where Benoit Blanc went up in the pulpit and was like doing his whole thing, like that went on too long. And like normally I love a Benoit Blanc.
I enjoyed that.
Like his full Jessica Fletcher mode, but like I wasn't into that. I love Josh Brolin's sermons. They were so unhinged. Yeah. Like when he started railing at the single mother and forced her out of the church.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I just love this idea of a priest like attacking people.
Yeah.
But this is like I have been in and I'm aware of priests, because we grew up
Catholic Ireland.
We grew up in Catholic Ireland. We're no longer part of that church, but
we're steeped in it.
We're steeped in it. I've got family members who are priests. And there are people I know of priests during, for instance, the abortion referendum in Ireland only a few years ago, who were doing. In our local churches, I don't want to name anyone or play areas, who were doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
They were up on the sermon in
Yeah.
2021 or whatever it was, screaming blue murder and and just turning people away.
And that's why I think what you said is nice about this film and it being balanced, because then you've got Josh O'Connor, who's like, there are priests like that too, who really care, who really want to help the community, who are lovely people. So I like that we had both. I also like Josh O'Connor's like boss priest that we meet at the beginning.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, he didn't get to be in the film enough, actually.
No, but I think this film has it's got a lovely template for what, and a reminder for what the Catholic Church is supposed to do. And he's a beautiful entry point to this man who had a violent past and found God and believes in this and wants to help people. My favorite scene in this movie, and it's very moving, with Josh O'Connor, was when he's on the phone to this
that was beautiful,
to this woman Louise, trying to get this clue about the tomb removal thing, right? And he's in it with Benoit Blanc, and he's like, come on Louise, like hurry on, and she's babbling. And then I thought this was such a lovely move that then she like says like, I'm so lonely, and this comes out of the blue.
Yeah, my mother's dying,
and he gets this sort of what he calls it, the road to providence moment, and he does his thing, and he spends hours like that's what a good priest is supposed to do.
And it's beautiful writing as well.
It's
like,
lovely, and Josh O'Connor sells it so well.
God, Josh O'Connor is just unbelievable.
And then he gets to do it again later with Glenn. I know you said the Glenn Close thing went on, and it did, but like when I thought that was a beautiful ending. Her giving her final confession to him forgiving her, and
lovely,
and then also that message of forgiveness, because that's another thing that like is lacking in our modern world, and I think there's a lot of political poking and satire which he likes to do in these movies, but like he's got a character at the heart of this who's calling for understanding and forgiveness, and that we're all in this together, and
it's very much against extremist views as well.
Exactly, and this is a character, Glenn Close, who has described herself. She had hate in her heart, and at the very end, she asked for forgiveness for everyone except Grace, and she wouldn't even let it go. And he managed to get her over the edge, and the release of the hate you could see on. By the way, fine performance from Glenn Close.
I love to see Glenn Close
after just seeing her in All's Fair.
Oh my God! Side note, and we will be talking about it on Patreon. We watched some of All's Fair, and I watched that show and thought, what has happened to Glenn Close? Like, she used to be a good actress, but then she's amazing here. So I don't know what is happening over in All's Fair. But I think that message as well of the film of like, it was kind of played for laughs about the harlot whore thing, and everyone was calling her that. But then the film actually is like, you were all in the wrong. And right at the end, Josh O'Connor won't let her get away with it. And I really like that as well.
That's great. There's some great stuff in here.
But even like how they speak about women, like when Josh Brolin's character was like he's fathered a child even though he's a Catholic priest. And then he's like, oh, well, your mother was just like a common whore.
Loose,
like how he speaks about women is disgusting. Yeah. So yeah, I had a really good time with this. At the thing at the end about the Adam or the
loose woman of no importance.
Oh yeah, loose woman of no importance. Eve's thingy and the jewel going into the body of Christ. Like symbolically, I like the idea, and I love that he built the cross again. However, that is not what a good priest would do. You bloody post that thing anonymously to UNICEF. Do you know what I mean? There's ways of giving that money, and I say that because we're donating a lot of our Patreon this month to UNICEF.
But it would be publicised that the gem has shown up.
No, because you say this is a private donor that is not to be disclosed. Like there's ways, like there's no way that guy could track it. Like private donations happen all the time.
I don't know.
Like you'd have to prove providence that you didn't steal it.
But so what you're suggesting is
give it to charity.
You give it to UNICEF. You say you cannot disclose that this gem is being given to you, and you cannot publicize it anywhere, and you need to then convert it into cash.
Yeah.
Privately without anybody knowing.
Okay,
so
fine.
You need to fence
Maybe
it.
UNICEF can't do that.
Do you think UNICEF might be like, I wonder, is this a criminal enterprise that I'm dealing with?
Somebody could have done it for him discreetly, okay?
No, but the problem is it is itself a famous thing that he converted.
Okay,
so
fine.
it actually is not possible.
There's means and ways. And this kid has no money. And we saw on his YouTube that he gets like 50 views. So I don't think he's making much money off that. But anyway, I don't want to be negative about the film. I had a really good time. I can't wait for the next one. I'm just like a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, I get it. It's nowhere near perfect. It's very baggy.
And
I
actually Googled it after we turned it off there while we were waiting for the mic to come on, because our mic takes ages to come on. And I said, was there a budget cut for this film? Because there's so few sets and it just feels a lot cheaper to me than the last film, because remember that was on the island and they were all on a boat and everything. That looked a lot more
expensive. Yeah.
No, turns out this is the most expensive one made yet. Now so the first film was
must be salaries.
First film was like 40 million.
Yeah.
This is estimated to be over 200 million.
What?
It doesn't make any sense.
This cost $200 million. What we just watched.
So
are you kidding me?
What doesn't make any sense to me is the first film's the best film.
Yeah.
It's by far clearly the cheapest.
I agree.
Like, the more money you give creatives, it does not mean
Where
anything.
Where did the 200 million go?
That's what I mean. Like, there's no sets there. Like, they're probably, like, the salaries would be insane. I'm sure Ryan Johnson's earning loads of money. I don't understand. I can't say for 100% fact. No, but I dug around and it did really look like a good fact.
I figured it out. They bought a real gem worth $50 million for authenticity.
I just think, like, the best stuff is not made from the highest budgets. Yeah. And, like, do you know what? They could have bloody saved $160 million and given that to fucking charity for what they've done.
Everyone must have got some payday then.
Yeah, well, look at the cast. Like, do you know what I mean? Anyway, still had a really good time. Dying to hear what you guys think. We were chatting about it a bit with our patrons earlier, our patrons, and because we were saying we hadn't finished it yet, but we were going to come back.
Sorry.
And a few of them were saying they hadn't finished it either.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not in everyone's wavelength, but I got to say that it feels a little hypocritical then when this movie is very much preaching that greed is corruptible, temptation and greed and money and wealth and power are corruptible influences, and this film's out there spending $200 million.
It's on Netflix. Go to the cinema. Do you know what I mean?
But
anyway, we'll get off our cinema soapbox. Thank you everyone for listening. We are in the process right now of compiling our lists for everyone's favorite episodes, our end of the year best and worst movies, and our separate episode where we do best and worst TVs. So yeah, we're having a lot of fun with that at the moment, and those episodes will be out in a couple of weeks.
If you would like to contribute to that episode, you can do so. You can leave us a voice note with your best and worst movie of the year, but here's the catch: you have to be one of our patrons. Only our patrons are eligible to do that. If you would like to become a patron, head over to patreon.com/The Cinemile. We are donating all new December donations to UNICEF, along with a $50 million diamond that we have come across. Sorry, I know it sounds like we're joking. We actually are donating the December earnings to UNICEF.
And also a gem of
that's a joke.
Undisclosed providence.
Wait, what was the name? The name of the church was so good. Our Lady of Perpetual Fortitude.
Yeah, amazing.
Come on, he's got a great way with words.
But anyway, and come over to Patreon. We are actually giving money to UNICEF. We're also still giving a gem to UNICEF.
And what you also get, you just won't let that go. What you'll also get is you'll get weekly Pluribus episodes. That's Vince Gilligan's, the creator of Breaking Bad's follow up to that and Better Call Saul on Apple TV Plus. We will be covering. We've covered and will be covering all the final series of Stranger Things, episode by episode. We are...
So the first 4 episodes are live now.
We are about to watch Return to Oz. We watch a retro movie every month. So that's going to be up. That with the theme that our patrons choose, get to vote on this month was... movies that scarred you as a kid. So we're looking forward to being scarred as adults.
Pretty much everyone said that it was Return to Oz. So yeah, thank you and goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.